Hello friend, Jim here with JB's Big Adventure coming to you from Lake Chapala, Mexico. In this video, what I'm going to talk about is something that Barbara and I right now are involved in, and that is looking for a new place to rent. Now, over a period of time, I've kind of put notes together of different things that are important to do when looking at a rental. So I'm going to share with you kind of a wide range of questions that you might want to make sure that you ask when you are actually looking at a place to rent. Now, I realize that there's a lot of folks that are viewers of this channel that are here in Mexico, but then there's even more of a numbers of you that are actually in the States. And so what I'm going to talk about right now, starting out, is talking about the pre-qualification process or checking into to find out what type of places there are to rent. So there's basically two different things you can do. For one, you can go online looking for a place to rent, which is somewhat of what we did when we found the place we're at right now. And the other is actually seeing it actually in person. Now, when Barbara and I came our first time last April for 8 days, we went to several different properties. We had a couple, 3 realtors we met with, took us around. And one place that we saw, we liked, but it was on the second floor. And it turns out that Barbara was able to find a condo in that same area that was on the bottom floor with nothing on the second floor. And that's actually where we chose to live today. But because there's no pets allowed, that's the reason that we're looking for another place right now. So let me give you some things that are really, really important for you when you're looking and searching for a rental. Some things you're going to want to make sure that you ask. For one is this: what's included? Now, here's why this is so important, because you can make a decision of renting a place because of the perceived understanding of what you think is included without first asking the question. Now, some of the things that happens here in Mexico is this, and that is you'll find that when you're looking at renting something, a lot of places will come furnished. Well, but here's what it says when it's furnished. It doesn't tell you what all is included. So just by taking a look at the picture, you want to be real careful, because it could have been that that picture was taken when somebody else lived inside of that condo, that house, that apartment, whatever it may be. And those items actually belong to the person that lived there before. Or the individual's actually going to rent the place out and utilize different furniture. So just because it says furnished doesn't mean it's going to have, a stove, or a microwave, or an oven. I mean, there's things that you're going to have to make sure that you find out about if those are particularly important to you, of what's included. Now, some places that come furnished, what they also include is, the bedding and the, all of the drapes in the house, and utensils and bath cloths, things for the shower. I mean, all kinds of things. So it's important for you to make sure that you actually ask what is in fact included. So here's another one that's really important. That is when it says all utilities included. Here's what's going to be important about that, and that is to find out which utilities are included, and are they included in a way that there's a ceiling. In other words, you can only get 300 pesos worth of electricity every day, and then once it goes above that, you're responsible for that. You're going to need to find out what in fact is included if in fact it says all utilities are paid. Now, when we're saying utilities, here's what we're talking about. Electric. We're talking about gas. Well, when it comes to gas, there's a tank. And when the tank needs to be filled, who's going to be the one that has to be filling it? Is that going to be your responsibility? Is it the owner's responsibility? That's going to be a really important thing. And then also who it is you need to make contact with to come out and fill that tank if in fact and when it needs to be done. But we're talking about water. We're talking about drinking water. Some units actually have a tap that is for drinking water. It's purified water. And it's done in several different ways. Some is reverse osmosis. Some are other multiple filters. But that's one of the things that you want to make sure that you find out about also. As I mentioned about the gas and the propane. Another thing, how about internet? How about cable TV? Now, they might say that it's included, but to what extent? Now, if you're someone that works from home, in internet and having a high-speed internet is going to be important for you. So in the States, what you normally have is what's called fiber optic. And there are places here in Mexico, here at Lake Chapala, that have fiber optic. And depending on what speed that you're looking for. Now, I did a video back some time ago in regards to internet speed and such. But here's going to be the key for you in regards to if you're looking for a place and it says that internet is included. You want to have them show you by simply going to an app on a phone or online and being able to test the speed of the internet. That's going to be something that's really important, that you have faith enough in somebody that's either looking at renting out the apartment, or they're the leasing agent, or they're the owner, whoever it may be, or you're actually local and you're going and seeing the place. You want to know what the speed's going to be so you know what to expect. And if, in fact, if it's not fast enough, are you able to upgrade without any problem? Something else that coming from the speed of the internet is going to be the speed of the water, and that is water pressure. Now, a lot of the homes here, what they have is they've got like water tanks on top of their house, on top of the condo, the apartment, whatever it may be, which allows and has a pump that brings water in. Well, you're wanting to know exactly what the situation and what kind of shape it's in, and is it going to provide? Has there ever been a problem with losing water pressure? That's really important when you get into things like washing cars and washing clothes and taking a shower. So that's something that's important for you to know about. Also, is there a washer and dryer hookup? That's an important thing in today's times. If, in fact, if you're accustomed to having a washer and dryer, being able to right at the house, go put your clothes in, and when they're all dried, and you bring them back out, as compared to lugging everything inside the car, going to a place, pull out your pesos, your coins, and work on getting your clothes washed elsewhere. So not all places have hookups for a washer and dryer. That'll be something else that you need to make sure that you also ask about. Air conditioning. Because of the weather and the climate here, and being the altitude of a mile high and being surrounded at lakeside, it's nice and cool here. It really feels good. It's like right now about 70 degrees. It's beautiful sky, and it's like that every day. So when it really comes down to it, air conditioning really isn't something that you're going to have every day. Now, there are some days where it's a little bit more humid, and it's nice to have it, but it isn't something you have to have every single day. Some places have fans, and those work well enough. I'm a warm body, so I'm one of those ones that I've always got to be cool. So when somebody says they need air conditioning, I fully relate with you and understand what you're talking about and what's important to you. That'll be something important for you to check into. Also to find out, is there any kind of, when it comes to if they're paying for electricity, is there a cap on the electricity as to how much they're willing to pay? Like I mentioned earlier, 300 pesos or 400 pesos or whatever it may be. And if there's something over the top of that, actually more, who has to pay for that? So that's air conditioning. Now, here's another thing that happens here in Mexico, and that is having a gardener. And there's been places that we've gone to, we've looked at. Right now, our gardener is included in our monthly rental of where we're at. So we don't pay anything extra for that. But we have looked at some other properties that do, in fact, have a gardener. And that's actually the responsibility of the leasee, of the person who's leasing the house. That would be you and I would be responsible for that if we wanted to have a gardener to come in, or even having a maid. Now, we have a maid come out once a month. I think it's $10 every time she comes out. She's here for 2, if not 3 hours of working. And so that's something that takes place, and it's something you'll want to make sure that you know, too, the importance of who in fact pays for that. Also, if there's a pool, who's going to be given the importance, or who is it going to be the responsibility of to pay for the pool cleaner to come out and take care of the pool? That's another really important factor too. Who's responsible for repairs? The hot water heater goes out. Who takes care of that? There's a pipe break In the plumbing, who takes care of that? The toilet doesn't work, who takes care of that? Those are also really important things to know. And I don't want to forget something here. It's really important. That is, it's also a good idea to have an attorney reviewing the contract for you. Remember, we're in their country, we're guests, but things are written in Spanish. So it's really important to know what those things are. And it makes a lot more sense to have an attorney read something and know what it is than it does to get lazy and not have that done or invest that little extra money to have the contract itself reviewed before you sign it. Also talking about the rental itself. When you're renting, there is some negotiation involved. My wife and I, as we've been out and about looking at places, and you've had the chance of taking a look at some of those places, there's a couple of them that actually were not $900 or were not $600. They were actually more than that, and we were able to negotiate. Those are actually the rates that I put on those apartments or those condos or houses in regards to what the rents were. Also, how about pet friendly? Now, again, as I mentioned, we're moving because of the fact that we are looking for having the room to be able to have the ability of having a pet. So what comes along with that? Is there a pet deposit that's going to be charged? What size of pet can it be? How many pets can you have? How about in regards to were the pets able to use the bathroom? Is the backyard okay? If there's no backyard, front yard, I mean, those are important things to also know about. And here's a couple warnings. For one, you don't want to just go rent something sight unseen. You want to make sure that you know what it looks like, you know the area it's in. Maybe you have somebody that lives down here and you're in the States, you're looking at coming down, you're wanting somebody to take a look at it for you. You don't want to just rent something sight unseen because you want to make sure that when you move in, it's going to be exactly what you're expecting. In fact, the feeling that Barbara and I had when we came down, because we had seen the model exactly like what we live in, only that was on the second floor, we're on the first floor. When we came here, we got here at night after driving all day, and we were pleasantly surprised of how nice it was. And that's the kind of feeling you want to have, is it ends up being better than what you had expected. Also an important thing too, and that is some I know that are sensitive to noise. Now, what are the noises here? Well, they celebrate here a lot. You could hear a lot of louder music. You could hear roosters crowing. You could hear dogs barking. You could hear bands going on, fireworks in the sky. What you want to do is when you're coming down is you want to look at areas and then kind of become a little familiar with that area, what takes place, not only during the day, but also at night. How about during the weekends? Those are some of the things, too, that you're going to want to make sure that you're a part of and understand fully. Also, maybe there's a mechanic in the area that's got air guns, and you're hearing that going off all day. So what you'll want to do is drive through that neighborhood, get an idea of what's there, what the surroundings are like. So, in fact, you can feel good about that being the place that you want to be. Well, in closing, I just want to make sure, again, I said that what you really want to do, too, is have an attorney on your side, taking a look at the contract for you, because you don't want to be expecting something and it turns out it's not that way, or you're putting down a deposit and you were told a different amount, or you're not putting down a deposit because you were told you didn't have to, but it says it in the contract. You really want to make sure that you've got the contract that gets reviewed. And I've actually shared some attorneys on some other videos that I've had. So I hope this has been helpful for you. It comes even closer to mine, to Barbara and I, because we're in the midst of doing this search right now. So we want to make sure that you've got that same information too. So with that, I just want to say, if you've not already, I'd like to encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's a great community. All you got to do is there's a little red box in the bottom right-hand side of the video. All you got to do is click on that. You're subscribed. It's free. It's fast. It's easy. There's nothing, it doesn't take anything except just a click. Also, if you like, give us a thumbs up. What that does is that lets other YouTube watchers and followers looking for places for rent and looking for different tips and suggestions about renting places to be able to find, so they'll in fact to be in the know. Also, we'd love to hear from you. I'd love to go ahead and have you comment, whether it be a question, whether it be a video you'd like to see. I've got, I think right now, 67, 68 videos I'm still going to be in production of here that you have actually asked for, that I'm putting together. And so that's an important thing if you'd like to communicate with us in that regards. And we've also got the email, as I'd mentioned to you before. And also, lastly, go ahead and hit the bell, because what that does is immediately notifies you when, in fact, we have a new video that's come out. So with that, thank you again for being a part of this video. We really appreciate you. You have an awesome day, and we'll see you on the next video.